Let's get to it. We normally do 3 up, 3 down. It's going to be hard to find 3 up. Sean, you're a better man than I. You most likely found 3. But let's start. Give me one guy that you're giving at least was good, a stud in this game for you.
I'm going to go with Demario Douglas, and a lot of this is because, we talked all last week and after the game on Sunday that we wanted to see more of Demario Douglas, and we did. 7 catches, team high 69 yards. He had that first half handoff too. He drew a penalty, ended up being an offsetting penalty, but he drew a penalty. I think it was in the first half maybe. And so you saw more from him. You saw him get open. You saw him get yards after the catch. You saw, when it comes to him, you saw some positive signs and some development after getting just 3 targets in the previous 2 games. So again, it's tough to come away with any sweeping conclusions from this offense at this point. But I would say it was a good step forward for Demario Douglas.
Averaged almost 10 yards a catch, literally 9.9. That's a Jackson Smith and Jigba. Patriots fans saw the week before carve him up. That's what Pop Douglas could be for this offense. My stud I'm going to start with, I'll go Christian Gonzalez. I said it earlier. He was one-on-one with Garrett Wilson pretty much the whole game. 9 targets came his way, only allowed 5 catches for 33 yards. Yes, it was 1 touchdown, but Garrett Wilson's one of the best route runners in the NFL. And Aaron Rodgers literally threw the perfect football. A half inch more inside, Christian Gonzalez would have batted it down at the line of scrimmage. I thought he was going for the pick 6, which I was all for on that. I was like, hey, that's the only way you're scoring tonight. No, he was stretching out with his inside arm, his right arm, try to bat it down. Just a perfect ball by Aaron Rodgers. Christian Gonzalez for 3 weeks. Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, none of them have gone for more than 45 yards receiving on him. And Garrett Wilson with his 5 receptions are the most that he has let up so far. And it was against the best quarterback and one of the best receivers he's faced. Who else do you have for a stud from tonight's game, Sean?
Yeah, I also had Christian Gonzalez, but my last one, I'm going to go with the punter, Bryce Behringer.
Oh, you stole it from me. I was going to go Behringer too.
All right. So, and a punter? Yeah, a punter. I mean, the guy, he had some boots. It was 5 kicks, 245 yards. He pinned the Jets inside the 23 times. He had a 57-yard kick. So, again, when we're talking, that's when it's, we're really scratching here, scratching the surface here. But it was a good game for him, and he's had a good start to the season. So, good for him.
Behringer's been nails since last season. We were joking about it watching the game. Our coordinated producer, JJ's like, the punter's doing good. I'm like, yeah. And we're like, yeah, actually flipped the field 4 times, pinned him inside there 23 times. He's helped them out as best as he can. I only had 2 studs, and so I'm stopping there. I'm not giving anyone else. I'm not going to be charity. Let's go to duds. Who do you have for your duds from today's game?
So I have a few different groups of duds, I guess I would say. The first one that I'm going to go with is the Jawan Bentley replacements. Mm-hmm. And so I classify that as Jelani Tavai and Raekwon McMillan. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but they really underwhelmed. I mean, they were kind of thrown into a big spot, and they just came up short. I mean, a handful of missed tackles between the 2 of them. I know we mentioned this earlier, but 14 missed tackles among the defense itself. Tavai also he was targeted quite a bit in coverage. He gave up a really nice pass from Aaron Rodgers to Tyler Conklin. It was a 22-yard gain on that long scoring drive. He had that brutal unnecessary roughness call on, I believe it was Breece Hall, during another scoring drive. And then in terms of McMillan, kind of the same thing, just a handful of missed tackles. He had at least one, I feel like it was more than that, but at least one play where he was, 3 or 4 yards in the backfield. And I think it was definitely on one of the running backs. And he just failed to make the play. And so, those plays kind of really added up. And so just a disappointing from them. And I also, are there any long-term thoughts, takeaways when it comes to those 2? I think it's fair to think that.
It's going to be baptism by the fire at that position, how significant it is. I'll see if Raekwon McMillan can be healthy. I'm with you. You said it earlier. Like Jelani Tavai is best when he's being a Swiss Army knife in the box, lining up on the edge and rushing the passer. My first dud is the entire defense. Like they were carved up all night, 13 missed tackles, 100 yards lost. The Jets finished with 400 yards of offense. You gave them 100. If you literally placed them at their own half-yard line, you gave them a touchdown. So defense is a dud. That's an easy one. I'll go back-to-back duds. Offensive line, 22 pressures on 35 dropbacks, 15 quarterback hits, 5 sacks. You were leaving Jacoby out to dry all night long. Same thing with Drake Maye. Defense, offensive line, 2 key pieces for this team to be successful were both duds tonight, Sean. Who's another dud you have?
I'll just follow up with that. I just had the Patriots' lack of passing attack. I mean, so that kind of includes the whole offensive line and includes the receivers. Again, just 1.8 yards per pass. I mean, that's tough. And moving on from there, I'm going to go with a specific offensive lineman, and I went Caden Wallace. And I don't think it's like unfair to pinpoint him. No. The offensive line in general was really bad, but he had those 2 holding penalties. He had a illegal motion penalty, illegal
formation twice.
It was illegal formation, yeah. He had that penalty, and I believe he had one last week too.
Yep.
So back-to-back weeks with those, just kind of a tough spot. The third offensive tackle in as many weeks, third left tackle in as many weeks, starting for the Patriots. But just a pretty rough go for it for the rookie.
Yeah, don't forget we were sold by Elliott Wolf that no, he could play left tackle. He looked lost at left tackle.
Yeah.
My third dud, Alex Van Pelt and his play calling. 7 of the first 9 plays were pass plays, Sean. I don't know if he's trying to make a point. He's trying to show off. I could get the receivers the ball. You're all about the run game. Ramondre Stevenson finished with 6 carries, 23 yards. You never could get the run game going because by the time you got the ball back after your back-to-back punts because you kept throwing the ball, it was 14-0. Like you took yourself out of the game. You never allowed the offense to play with its strength. What's another dud you have from today's game?
So I'm going to go with Alex Austin. And we see him. He elevates up the depth chart. Marco Wilson, healthy scratch. As soon as Alex Austin stepped on the field, Aaron Rodgers went right at him. You mentioned it earlier on the Allen Lazard touchdown. Again, just another brutal missed tackle. One-on-one, open field, just completely whiffed on it. That gives the Jets their first touchdown of the game. And it just the story was told throughout the entire game. So, for Alex Austin to kind of enter the fold for the Patriots, in week 3 after not playing a defensive snap each of the first 2 weeks, and have that as one of his first snaps, just not great.
Yeah, I'm actually going 4 duds because I only went 2 studs. Ramondre Stevenson fumbled 3 straight weeks. First one lost, never got the ground game going. Ball security is job security. Ramondre has to get that going. All right, Sean, that wraps up this episode of Foxboro Rush, man. Appreciate you staying up late with me. We'll see what it looks like next week. Patriots head out to San Francisco, taking on the 49ers. Bosa, Jordan Mason, Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, another elite team coming their way. We'll see if they do any better